Face the unknown and ponder the question. What if?
What's going on out there, everybody? It's your two favorite rascals, and we're back to talk about Marvel Studios.
What if?
Jeffrey Wright is back as the Watcher, and we have an all-new episode of What If this week to talk about with you guys. This one is called What If Killmonger Rescued Tony Stark? And this goes back all the way to the first Marvel Cinematic Universe movie that we saw. And of course, that was when we saw Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man in the very first film that kicked off all of the shenanigans and everything that we've seen from the Marvel Universe. And it all depended on that film. You know, that the success of that film really launched the Marvel Cinematic Universe and brought us to this point where we are about to kick off, you know, all these brand new movies. Obviously, we saw Black Widow, but we're about to get Eternals, and we just saw Shang-Chi come out. So this all new Phase 4 is well into high gear. We're about to get into multiverse, and this What If show has given us a little tease of that multiverse. And this one has to do with Killmonger showing up and rescuing Tony, like we saw at the beginning of Iron Man when Tony is going into the desert with all the troops in Afghanistan. When the rocket attack happens and the Humvee in front of him blows up, you know, and all that happened and led to Tony becoming Iron Man. Well, that didn't happen in this. The rocket attacks the Humvee and Killmonger shows up to save the day and save Tony Stark's life.
Yes, he does. We got the man, the myth, the legend, Michael B. Jordan returning as Killmonger. Probably one of my favorite, I guess, villains in the MCU. I thought Michael B. Jordan and Black Panther, he was awesome. I love Killmonger a lot. He brought a lot of intensity to the character, and I don't think any other characters would work for Michael B. Obviously, the Fantastic Four movie was pretty shitty, but I really liked him in this character, and then him returning to voice the character in this episode, which is really cool. Showing up to save the day for Tony Stark. And I'm not sure the voice actor of Tony or Iron Man. It sounded like Robert Downey a little bit, but not fully. So I knew it was somebody else. But I thought they were pretty good in this episode. Really interesting. We have a bunch of people returning, like in previous episodes, to voice the characters from the live action. You know, Andy Serkis, Danae Guerrera, and a few others. Don Cheadle, I think, was one as well. And Jon Favreau as Happy Hogan. So a lot of people returning to do the characters. We even have a little bit of Paul Bettany as Jarvis in this episode, having to do with Tony Stark, per usual. And then Leslie Bibb is Christine Everhart. So there are a bunch of people in this, and it's a pretty interesting take, like you're saying, going back to the first Iron Man movie, and also colliding with Black Panther, Andy Serkis' character as well, having to do with vibranium and a lot of crazy shit that happens along the way.
It changes things in this universe. You know, we don't see Tony Stark become Iron Man anymore. We see Killmonger get all the glory for saving Tony Stark. Yep. And in turn, Tony Stark's makes him, you know, the head of all his, you know, his division with all his, you know, toys that he makes, all his awesome nanobots, and uses his technology. And he gives Killmonger basically the keys to his lab there. Jarvis is at his disposal. And Killmonger has this idea for these big Gundam style, like big kind of transformer figures. And I was reading a little bit behind the scenes. Apparently, Michael B. Jordan's a big fan of anime and this Gundam series with those, you know, Transformers looking guys. And that's why the robots look like that in this episode, I guess, because Michael B. is a big anime fan. So that was a little nod to his love of that.
He said that too in the episode. He says that as Killmonger. He's like, yeah, I'm a huge fan of anime. So that's why
gotcha.
The design looks like that.
They call them the Liberators in this one. They have the Stark Industries logo on them. Yeah, and it's basically Killmonger in control of a fleet of these things. And he's still Killmonger. He's still the same Killmonger that we know. You know, he doesn't have pure aspirations here. He's manipulating Tony Stark. He's going to manipulate his way all the way to Wakanda. And his ultimate goal is to become Black Panther. And we see some scenes back on Wakanda in this episode. Yep. We do see Chadwick Boseman come back again. It's been great.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
He keeps
for
coming
the
back.
third or fourth time, already in these episodes. So he had a big workload for this series of What If. It was great hearing from him again. And his character doesn't meet a great fate, as does most of the characters that we know and love. You know, Killmonger does his thing. He's very skilled. He's, obviously very physically adaptive. He's this kind of a super soldier. He's quick, agile, and he also has the mind to go along with it. We learn more about in this where he did his thesis paper, and that's kind of what led to him building these robot super soldiers that end up on Wakanda. And of course, he makes it look like it's the US government sending these robots to go fight against the Wakandans. He manipulates the whole scenario where he fights as one with Wakanda. And he, like I said, he wants to become the Black Panther, and he succeeds in the episode.
And like you're saying, without not giving too much away, a lot of the main characters, which they seem to be doing throughout this series, is killing off a lot of the main, fan favorites in this. And they do that with this episode as well, really tying into the first Iron Man and the what if scenario. If that didn't go down, there's something completely different. Throwing in Killmonger, having to do with Black Panther, like you were saying, with Chadwick Boseman returning. We only thought he was going to be in episode 2, and like that's the last we're going to hear of Chadwick or see of him. And then he comes up in 3 more episodes. So he's like a recurring character, one of the few like recurring characters in this series. But it was great to hear him again and seeing Killmonger trying to be the Black Panther. For me, this episode was probably the flattest of the season thus far. It was fine. They just kind of played it safe and wasn't as exciting as the other episodes. I don't think the characters were as fleshed out and just seemed not as interesting compared to the other episodes. But I thought this episode was okay. With that being said, this is probably my least favorite episode of What If thus far. We still have 4 episodes left of the season, so we'll see where this all goes. Each episode is completely different and interesting, but this one just didn't really work for me overall. So I'll give episode 6 of What If a 3 out of 5 Michael B. Jordan hair pieces.
It was great seeing Killmonger again. I really like Michael B. Jordan's portrayal of Killmonger in this series. He was a great villain in the Black Panther movie, and it was great seeing him again. It was cool seeing the little twist on things, seeing how, Tony Stark not eventually becoming Iron Man in this world, seeing Killmonger manipulate his way to becoming, where we see him at the end of the episode, seeing some of the heroes die off. But the stakes in this just didn't seem as big as the previous episodes for me, especially coming off the zombie episode that we saw last week, and then the one with Doctor Strange. Those had more impact on me, and I'll remember those more than I remember this one. This one was just okay for me. Cool seeing all the characters return from the universe to do the voices. Of course, Don Cheadle. They got everybody pretty much, but Robert Downey Jr. They even got Leslie Bibb there from the Iron Man movie. So they do a good job, calling back from the previous films and going back all the way to the beginning in the very first Iron Man. At the end of the episode, the resolution on this isn't very good either. It's just kind of a quick scene between Pepper and Shuri, where they hatch a plot to get back at Killmonger for what happens at the end. So it's kind of anticlimactic as well. Overall for me, this one didn't work as well as the other ones. It wasn't one of my favorites either, but it was still good. I'm going to give What If Killmonger saved Tony Stark a 3 out of 5 Killmonger hair pieces.
So that's our review of What If. We'll be back for the remaining episodes each week that air on Wednesdays on Disney Plus. We'll be back talking about the remaining episodes. Also on our YouTube channel, we just released our review of Malignant, James Wan's new film. We had a great time with that. Impeachment, American Crime Story, episode 1. We reviewed that, and we also had our previous review of episode 5 of What If with the zombies. Had a great time with that. And we have more reviews for TV and movies coming out very soon. Also a podcast coming up soon right here on our YouTube channel. If you haven't already, hit subscribe below. And also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com.
And also don't forget to join in on the fun with the Fellas giveaway. This time we're giving out a digital copy in 4K of The Shawshank Redemption, the classic Frank Darabont film from the Stephen King adapted novella. So look out for that on there. All you have to do is comment on that post. Let us know what your favorite Stephen King film adaptation is, and you'll be entered in, and we are going to announce the winner for that on the 23rd of September. So you have plenty of time to enter in and get your entry in, and maybe you'll win. Who knows? This has been another fun What If review. We have several more episodes to come. We will be back next week to cover the next episode. I'm Henry Killmonger.
Hi, and I'm Logan Circus.
Until the next What If review, Scott Stapp's out of here. Cheers!
What if?